lifestyle. And really what that means is it's going to be a balance between our work life and our real life. Because let's be honest, we love to work because we have a vision and we love the return that we get from the things that we do. But it can eat up all of our lives. So this afternoon, we're going to talk about confidence. We're going to talk about how to overcome burnout, those type of things. Before we actually invite our panelists up, we're inviting the ladies back in from the other room. I want to talk a little bit about where we're at and have some appreciation for the One Banquet Hall. It is a boutique venue where you can do like weddings and private events, those type of things. But you can also film it here, so you know we have something to film. We want to say thank you to the refreshments because that is Kort in Time for providing all of the refreshments today. They are actually from Ventura and they travel everywhere. So if you liked it, tell them that they're going to feel great inside. They're entrepreneurs as well. And of course, our vendors. We have Emma Roberts. She's actually doing Desert Daisy jewelry and selling really amazing things over there. We have Thirst, who's actually launching their skincare line today. This is actually where they begin their entrepreneurship. Yeah, you can clap for that. It's amazing. We're all here to do that, right? We're all here for our community. They're launching today, so it's funny because if you watch this on a broadcast 5-10 years from now, and now they're this huge company, it all started right here, right?
That's how you do it.
That is how you do it. Yes, I love it. We also want to thank Sway, who is right. They're here. They're actually selling organic, natural deodorant, which is super cool. But also other products. She's got her little, she's got the party going on back there. So I want to thank her as well. And PK Odell, is that right? Odell, PK Odell, thank you so much. It's not even that complicated of a name. And I was so worried that I was going to mispronounce it. She's actually back there. She's the Feng Shui master. She is the expert. She is going to give you all of the lifestyle advice that you need to be able to incorporate all of this, honestly, into your lifestyle and level up, because we're all here to level up. Are you guys ready to meet our panelists for the afternoon? But are you really ready to meet the panelists for the afternoon? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. First, we are going to invite to the stage, she is a confidence coach. She's the founder of The Confidence Crown, which is not only a podcast, but also a community. She's got a brand new book that just released called Stronger. Please put your hands together for Lisa Hyde. I love how she comes dancing to the stage. I love it, I love it. Our next panelist is a licensed mental health therapist, also a veteran. Best-selling author of You Are Enough. Put your hands together, please, for Megan Fenyo. We're just gonna grab the microphone and we're just gonna steal the microphone and pass back and forth. Our next panelist is a holistic wellness expert and a best-selling author. Get Well Now is her latest book. It's actually here. It launched recently. We're super excited to have her. Please invite up to the stage and give her a lot of love, Dr. Meg Hayworth. And now for our final panelist today. She's actually a style and beauty blogger, and honestly, she is the genius behind glossangeles.com, which grew into a social media creative content builder for brands. She builds content for brands. Please, put your hands together for Kayla Smith. We want to get down to the nitty-gritty. I'm super excited about the afternoon panel. I love the first one because we learned so much about business tips and those type of things. I am super excited about this one because we're talking about the person within. And I know that my business tends to eat up everything I have. So that's what we're talking about for the second panel. And we want to talk to you first. And the reason actually that we want to talk to you, Lisa, is because you are the founder of the Confidence Crown, right? Well, first of all, we all need confidence, right? Everyone needs confidence. Everyone does, right? How do you build confidence? Let's say I'm shy. Let's say I'm an introvert. Let's say I'm an extrovert that has nothing left to give. But especially like if I'm shy, how do you build inner confidence? I mean, genuine inner confidence.
Absolutely, and I think almost everyone feels that way at some time or another. Even if you thought, oh, I'm really good at this. There's some point in your life where someone has said something negative to you, and all of a sudden you second guess that. So that introvert, or just the person who feels like they've been kind of shut down, needs to practice on quieting those negative voices, focusing on yourself, and working on your personal development. And that is my favorite tool.
Yeah, I want to learn more about that. Because, I mean, I want to specifically know how I can work on my personal development. I mean, we all do. We all want to learn that. But I want a specific strategy. Do you have one? What is a specific strategy that all of us can apply for personal development? Does this mean like business?
It can be business. It can be truly your personal life. I mean, I've spent the last 8 years working on this part of me. Because even though I love what I do, we can always improve. There's always something about us that we can grow and allow ourselves to do better. So there is a book out there that can help you. But I happen to be a huge fan of audible.com. I think get those books out there, pick a few of them, listen to them. I think 10 minutes minimum a day. Actually, 10 minutes twice a day is ideal. But listen, get those voices in your head that are positive, that are helping reassure you that you can follow through on your dreams.
Can you walk me through this? Because I have the type of brain where I will listen to something like that because, oh, this is quality.
Yeah.
But my brain will go, that's great, and I want to do that, and have no strategy whatsoever. Like, how do you do that? How do I tap into that part of me that knows what I should develop?
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, but how do I know what to develop?
Well, you do a little assessment. Again, my book could help with that. Sorry, but you want to do an assessment. You want to pick your strengths and weaknesses. Again, part of personal development is working on those weaknesses. So we all kind of know what they are. Write them down. This is for you. No one else has to read your list. This is for you to know. And then find books that are on those topics. Start there. As you feel like you've accomplished something in that realm, move on to the next one. Don't beat yourself up. This is to help you grow.
What if I am working forever and I feel like I never sleep and I've been up for 45 years and I want to have personal development? We've all been there, let's face it, we've all been there. Because you were talking about it doesn't necessarily even have to be your business. Like what if I was, okay, what if I grew up and I wanted to be like a ballerina? But I don't look like a ballerina, I didn't have the ability to be a ballerina. Like, would that play into
Absolutely.
How would I accomplish that dream?
Okay, so one, you need to sacrifice something in your time for another. So if you happen to be a reality TV watcher, not that that's not a good thing, enjoy your free time. Why don't you go take a dance class instead? So opt out of one of those things that you're already doing and using that free time, and do that activity that you loved as a child and take advantage of it. You don't have to become a professional dancer to enjoy yourself. It's the consistent effort you're putting towards the practice, and you're going to see a difference. And your confidence will
So it spreads over in other areas of your life.
Absolutely.
Because the next time you see me, I might be a ballerina.
You can go. I love it.
Why not, right?
Why not?
I really love that.
Nothing to lose.
Okay.
You have nothing to lose.
I really don't, because at this point I'm an entrepreneur, like I already have a business, right?
Exactly.
If I become a famous ballerina, it would be,
Why not?
look at YouTube for that. That would be fantastic.
Right? What an awesome story. Come on.
I love it. Okay, so when you are working on this personal development, you're talking about my weaknesses, which none of you are going to know about my weaknesses. Those are completely private. But we all do have them. You're right, we have them. But I like that you were saying about how it can be something that makes us feel alive inside.
Mm-hmm.
But there are going to be people that say I shouldn't do it, right? Or we shouldn't do it, especially like, let's say, my ballerina dream.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've outed myself in front of everybody about that. But when that happens, like, how do you filter out the voices that will inevitably come up? Like, or maybe even your own voice that says, let's be honest, like, what are the chances of this? Like, what do you do? How do you filter it out?
first you gotta weigh the pros and cons. I mean, if this is something you really want to experience, then you need to turn that voice off. We all are raised with limiting beliefs and things that have caused us to think we can only do so much. But the people around us who are voicing things negatively, that's their own insecurities. So move away from the negative voices, find other like-minded people, and just go for it. The worst thing that can happen is you'll find out, oh, I don't love it as much as I thought I would. But at least you tried, and that's part of the growth.
Okay, how do I give myself permission to say, do it?
Affirmations, my favorite. I am beautiful. I am confident. I am a millionaire. Whatever your want is, write down 3 affirmations. You should take out your phones and pens and books, whatever you're using right now. Pick 3 things that you want to improve and state it as you've already done it. I am a millionaire. I am confident. I am beautiful.
So that you're already working toward it.
You're already doing it.
What happens if you have like Aunt Sally who says, oh, well, I have a friend that tried to do this and didn't work out for them, and there was some catastrophic, ridiculous story that goes, because that's going to happen. It is going to happen. How do you filter them out?
Aunt Sally, it's me. This is really important to me. I find love and joy in this. I would love for you to support me. And if you can't support me, can you keep the negative stories to yourself?
I honestly want to write that down right now. So I can take my phone out.
I mean, you've gotta be honest with these people. If they're holding you back, again, this is something more on them. They're afraid. They don't want to see you get hurt. They're trying to protect you. That's lovely, but you need to be honest with them too, that this is important to you. You want to do this. Please find room in your life to support me. In some way, shape, or form. It could be, and anyway, even them just acknowledging you and turning off those negative stories.
So we all have permission to do whatever we want from this point forward. I really love that. Please put your hands together for Lisa. That was fantastic. I love that. Now we have built our confidence, and we're turning to you. Megan, we were talking about how you're a veteran. You're a best-selling book author, which is super, super exciting. I just saw your picture last night. You were kissing your book, and that made me feel so connected to you as a human. Because if I don't have a book, but if I did, I would 100% kiss it.
It saved my life, which you guys will hear about in a second.
Well, how did the book save your life?
Well, first of all, when I start every talk, do we have any active duty or veterans in the house? Yes, Katie! Thank you.
And online, that might be
Yes,
happening.
and online. Thank you guys so much for your service. I always do that when I start talking, so thank you so much. So anyway, sorry, back to your question.
How did the book save your life? You wrote a book. Not everyone writes a book.
Yes.
And you know, especially like you are a mental health expert. This is what you're licensed in. How did you use that to save your life?
So I've been a mental health therapist for 16 years, and really had a lot of struggles in my life. And I always knew that I wanted to publish something. I didn't know if it was a book or an article, but I wanted to do it by the time I was 40. I turned 40 in June, so I did it last year. And the reason why I did it was I was in a very narcissistic, abusive marriage for 6 years. And even as a mental health therapist, I would be in between seeing patients crying on the floor, not being able to get out of bed, and then putting myself together to see patients. And I literally, as a therapist, did not even know I was in this. My friend Katie that just stood up active duty, she knows the whole story. She actually was there during all of it, to be honest. So I had lost every piece of me, and instead of going through and working on myself, I was working full time. I started a private practice. I started
You ran.
I did, and it was crazy. So then, long story short, in February of last year, the last traumatic event happened, and I walked away. And I started writing my book. I just wrote and wrote and wrote. And a lot of people ask, like, what was the process for you? And I say it was my healing process, because I don't remember writing the book. I didn't have to put time in my planner to write it. And the 5 steps that I talk about are based on mental health techniques that we use as therapists.
That I want to know.
Yes.
That's what we all want to know, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about sometimes we get burnout. Because we are talking about we give so much of ourselves, and way more honestly than we have to give.
Yeah.
So when you hit burnout or you hit an inspiration block, what can we do as a mental health therapist, what do we do to overcome those moments? How do we give anything back to ourselves and overcome that?
Well,
I know we could, the whole panel can be done on that, but like, what would be like one tip that we can all walk away with and say we could do this?
it's honestly, there's a lot of tips, and I know we're gonna get into like the reality of, our reality thoughts. Is a lot of just like rediscovering yourself. So what I love about my book is that it's a journal. So like I pose questions at the end of each chapter that actually gets you to start working on these steps, because when I wrote my book, I was literally working through the steps. It's something that I've done. I've used it with my clients. I think the biggest one when we're feeling stuck is really working on our grounding skills, which is a CBT therapy model, and learning how to ground our negative thoughts.
What does CBT stand for?
Oh yeah, sorry.
I actually don't
Behavioral therapy.
What is it?
Cognitive behavioral therapy.
Okay, so how do we use that to be able to overcome a roadblock?
So for example, of course, as most people know, I'm the I'm Enough girl. And so one of the things that I have right now is the I'm Enough cards. It's the I'm Enough movement. Just for international, super excited. And as a therapist, I'm a visual therapist. So when we have these roadblocks, right, we have to figure out what we're saying in our head, which is what we talk about with the reality testing our thoughts. Because it's something that we're telling ourselves that's keeping us stuck from moving forward, whether it be career, health, relationships, whatever it is, it's the story that we're telling ourselves.
Okay, can you walk me through this? So let's say I have been working, like we were talking about, forever, and I really do hit a creative block. Genuinely, we're all gonna hit that, like as entrepreneurs, we're all gonna hit that. How do I use this technique to get in touch with what's actually going on inside of myself? How's that possible? I know it's a short amount of time, but like how is that possible? What can I do like right now? Let's just say I feel that way right this second. Like what can I do right this second?
So there's a lot of questions. So it's all about rediscovering who you are. So like if you go through a traumatic event, or you start a new career, or if you're in a creative block, it's rediscovering who you are. It's rediscovering your values. It's thinking about what makes you excited, what your passion and purpose is. And sometimes it's just asking yourself these questions, which are in my book. All of these questions that get your mind rethinking about what you're doing.
So kind of like personal development, a little bit like we were talking about personal development. So depending on what it is. I love your tip though, that you were talking about like the book came out almost organically because that became almost like a journal. I haven't read it yet, and I promise that I will because I'm super excited. Please put your hands together for Megan. What an amazing. We're so happy that you're here. We really are. We're going to turn our attention now. We talked a little bit about confidence, right? Overcoming burnout and roadblocks and those type of things that we are going to hit in business. Now we want to turn to Dr. Meg. And one of the things when we were talking about persona versus personal life. Because we all have a persona, we do. If we work retail, we sell something, provide a service, it honestly doesn't matter. Let's say I sell model airplane glue, and that's what I do, right? But you have a persona because you have to interact with other human beings. And I know that your specialty is becoming authentic and kind of balancing persona and personal life. How do you do that? What is the secret? No,
That's a big one.
the secret. It is the big one. Yes.
But I think it's critical for women who are entrepreneurs is to be authentic. And personally, just to give you a little bit of backstory, I'm an abuse survivor. I had over a dozen illnesses. I drowned. I was struck by lightning. I've been divorced. I've had miscarriage. I've just been like the victim, a victim. I've just gone through so many different things in my life and overcome them all. And one of the things I have to do in public is talk about my story, and being authentic to that is really crucial, because if I wasn't sharing, and this is important for everybody to think about, if you're not sharing who you really are in your mission and your vision, the people aren't going to get you. They're not going to hear what your message is, and that's, I think.
So kind of like in drawing emotion into your story. What you might not know about Dr. Meg is that she's also a celebrity chef. So that's the reason I'm asking her about this, because here you are a celebrity chef, and you are saying, here's my actual background. Like, was that a scary step for you to do? Let's be honest, was it scary?
scary to do which part?
To become authentic. Because
Oh,
you
yeah.
have this persona, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're sharing this history that's not so
Yeah,
beautiful.
exactly. People are like, wait, you're what? You know? I thought you were a chef and now you're this. It's like, well,
What did you do to
always been
overcome
all this. So,
the fear? What did you do to overcome the fear of being authentic?
you know, a lot of it, it's not about me. It's about every woman who needs to hear this message. And it's about their transformation and what they need from what I've been able to gain. I've been so blessed to be exposed to transpersonal psychology, and to holistic wellness and all the different things that I have been. And this is what I help my clients with is that holistic system, because we're made of so many different layers and levels. We're not just physical beings, you know?
So it's exhausting to be on all the time. It just is. It just drains you. It drains you. What could you do especially if you are doing something where you're interacting with the public, and they can, public can be draining. Your other vendors or whoever it is that you're looking, you could be a public personality, and it can just honestly drain you. What do you do to stay authentic without being completely sucked dry?
Yeah, great question. Food is the first thing that I go to, and I think it's women, we are going. We don't think about what our bodies need. We don't plan for it. We'll have 3-month content calendars for our businesses planned out, but we won't know what we're having for lunch. And so then we grab something, and then this has a cumulative effect over time, and we end up getting sick. And if you lose your health, you lose your wealth, you lose everything, because I've been there, and it's not fun, and I don't recommend it for anyone.
So that's how you get
plan.
into energy then?
Yeah.
I feel like you
Food is
just
the
read
first
my
thing.
diary and you're like, she never plans lunch. But she's 3 months ahead. That's what she's doing. I love that. You had said something when we were chatting. You said the body always remembers what the mind forgets.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that means, especially when we're talking about persona business versus our personal life? What does that mean? Especially because the audience doesn't know the context of how that came up. How does the body remember what the mind wants to forget?
Yeah, this is mind-body medicine, and this is something that I think a lot of people don't hear about much, but there is a connection between the mind and the body, and what you think and feel in the experiences of your lives and how it affects your body going forward. The Adverse Childhood Experiences study is the largest public health study ever done, and they've chronicled over 17,000 people for the last 20 years and shown that there are certain diseases that are associated with certain sexual, physical, emotional abuse and family dysfunction. And so most of us, I think, don't have that connection, that awareness of the mind and the body. And I think that's one of the things that we need to start making that connection. We're so busy doing everything that we don't stop to listen until we get a diagnosis. And I would say, let's prevent the diagnosis by beginning to listen now.
Is there something practical that we can do? Because there will be times where I will go all day long and I just won't eat. Or it's 4 o'clock, it's 7 o'clock at night, and then I'm finally eating because I just don't get a hunger signal. Like, is there something practical that can be done for all of us that we're able to figure out how to balance our energy level? Because that's so important, energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, plan, which I know you don't want to hear. Plan ahead, but you can fit it in. But to start the mind-body connection, just a simple exercise that you can do. You know, we're always transitioning. Like, you finish doing your emails, and now you're going to do some online marketing, and in that moment, just close your eyes for just a moment. Take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. It's a cleansing breath, and ask your body what's going on with it. You just notice, like, oh wow, my stomach is hurting. I have a headache. I didn't realize I had a headache. Maybe I need some water. Or maybe I need to feed myself. Or
that would make sense because I don't know if you girls do. I definitely don't. I don't check in with myself throughout the day. I'll check in with clients throughout the day, or what I have planned coming up throughout the day. I do that, but I don't check in with myself. So then, okay, we were talking a little bit about, you were talking about the ACE quiz, right? These are 10 questions that you can ask yourself to be able to be authentic, right? So it's not only persona all the time, but it's being authentic and what's actually going on inside of you. If you were going to give a tip to all the ladies here today, not just about getting, because we're talking, checking with your body
Mhm.
and maintaining your energy levels through food, but also figuring out what you actually really need. Is there a specific question? And there might not be, but is there a specific question that we could use from either this quiz or something else where we're able to know how to balance actual personal life with being on all the time? Because none of us want to be drained.
Yeah, that's so true. Well, the ACE quiz is really specific to your adverse childhood experiences, so that's kind of a different thing. But it's a good gauge to assess your risk for what can happen in the future. So, a good tip going forward is to begin establishing that mind-body connection. What do I need? What does my body need? What do I want? How can I be of service to myself first, so that you can be of service to others? And I think all of us as women entrepreneurs, we want to be of service to others. We want to give from our hearts all the time, and in order to do that, to establish that connection, feed your body good foods, feed your body good thoughts. Like you said.
I feel like I have 100 things I need to improve on right here in a really, really great way. In a great way. Please put your hands together for Washington. Thank you so much for that. And I love that, you're right, because I'm so not in tune with that. Especially, I don't know if you guys are like me. I'm not always in tune with what's going on with my emotions, and definitely not my body. So I feel like I have some good ammo. We are turning now to Kayla. Now, Kayla is our boss babe style expert. You do so much. I don't know if you've actually seen her Instagram page yet or not, but I was looking at it. It's so beautiful. It's honestly about creating this beautiful aesthetic. So we talked about building confidence when we don't have it, especially if we're an introvert. What do we do if we're shy? We talked about overcoming burnout, overcoming inspiration blocks, and how we can journal and honestly heal ourselves or read something that's going to make a difference in our life. Paying attention to our body, being authentic, so the person doesn't suck the life out of us. Now we have this huge boss babe lifestyle. We want to know how you showcase that online. So we're going to hand all of this to you. How do you make that beautiful online?
Well, there's lots of ways to do it, and I think it just starts with an idea, a concept. And so obviously everyone here has a brand or an idea or is a person with an individual personality, and you want to showcase something. So first of all, it's coming up with what is it that you're trying to showcase? What is unique to you that you want to share with the world and add value to other people with? And so it's all about creating content around that specifically and get really laser focused with it. So when I started my blog, losangeles.com, I had just come from FITM, the Fashion Institute, and I studied beauty marketing, and I really got so much information there that I wanted to share with other people, and I loved fashion and style and beauty and all these things, and I wanted to do something with it. But there's a lot of other people who are doing that. It's a very saturated market. So first of all, it's about defining what kind of content you want to create and how you're going to separate yourself from others, and that's USP, unique selling proposition.
I want to talk more about that because you hear that at every conference you go to, especially when you own a company. You hear USP, 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 and you get it, but you don't actually know how to put this into practice.
Right.
Okay? Tell us how you actually put that into practice. You gave me a specific example, actually.
So what I did when I started was I literally took pen to paper. It does not have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be some crazy, business idea. It's literally just taking pen to paper, and what I did was I filled up 4 pages of my notebook with adjectives that I thought described me, that were words that I wanted to describe my business, my blog, because my blog really is a business. It's a representation of me as a business person. And I filled it up with adjectives. They could be, things that's as simple as amazing or beautiful, but we really want to narrow in. So what I did once I got those 4 pages was I started eliminating things that I thought were kind of boring, and I honed in on what was essentially my mission statement, and that's how I found the name of my blog, which a lot of people have, said
That's
that
brilliant.
that really
It's
stands
fantastic.
out. Yeah.
Los Angeles is great.
I think I had written like glossy, gloss, and then I just Los Angeles. It was like I'm talking about beauty, and that's kind of glossy and fabulous. And so, anyways, I would really just start with a simple pen and paper. Write down adjectives that you think define you, or that you want to define you, like you were saying, things that you want to represent and embody. And then kind of put together like a mission statement for yourself. Here's my about me, and really insert your personality into that. Be really specific, like tell your story, and that's what people want to hear. They want to hear the behind the scenes and the ins and outs and the background. I think inserting that story is what captures attention. Yeah. And
well, USB, by the way, because I don't know if I introduced it, this is the unique selling point. Like you actually have a unique selling point. That's USB, just in case you're not familiar with that. So you took 4 pages to write out. Was this the image you wanted to create, or was this the image that you already were, or you were just trying to figure out what your unique selling point was?
Yeah, it was kind of me just piecing together the thoughts in my head. Like, okay, I have this idea of what I want this to look like, but how am I really going to describe it to people? And some words turned into sentences that turned into pieces that are actually now on my website.
So level up our bios on social media. Okay, I really, really like that. You were telling me that you actually do consulting for, because we were talking about a saturated market, right? Because there are so many people that are doing beauty, it's like, how do you stand out, right? You told me that you do some consulting for a person that manufactures candles, and he's a male. Okay, tell me how that works out.
Okay, so from Los Angeles, my blog, I turned all that knowledge into a consulting firm that I started, Gloss to Media. And I have different clients. Some are beauty and fashion, and some are not, like you're saying. So there's a really awesome candle shop here in LA. It's called Candle Delirium. I'll give them a little shout out. It's the world's largest candle store, but it's just a one-man show. Like, it's this guy who loved candles. He started it. It's on Santa Monica Boulevard. Anyways, his store is this like magical, enchanting place when you walk in, and he needed help portraying that store on a digital presence. Not everyone can walk into the store and get the magic of it, so we need to capture that and put it into content. And so what I did for him is I took the essence of his personality. I took a questionnaire about him and his store and his brand, and he gave me kind of his key adjectives and some stories about himself. And I insert that personality into the content that I create for him around these candles. And he's not gonna have like pastels and hot pinks and purples. He's kind of moody. He loves Halloween. He loves spooky. He has kind of a dark, twisted humor. So I take all that and I insert that into the content that I create for him. And when you go to his page, it's kind of dark and moody, and there's parts of it that are light, but I think it tells the story of his brand really well.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's say we've had social media. We're just going to use Instagram, for example. Let's just say we've had Instagram for a long time. If we're just starting out, then this is brilliant, because that is how you started out. Let's say we've had Instagram for a really, really long time. How do you level up on your Instagram? Are there apps that you use? Are there like specific things that you use to make it look polished?
Yeah, so that's really what I specialize in at Gloss Media. And creating content is not just photography. It's not taking out your iPhone and snapping a photo and this is good enough. It's an art form, really, and I think it takes a lot of thoughtfulness and time, and some people maybe are not willing to put that time in, but those details really do matter, because that comes across as being polished and having a thoughtful message and kind of a strategy behind it. It's not just popping something.
Can you be specific? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, so what I do is I use a lot of different apps, and that's not to say, use Photoshop and change the appearance of something. It's just enhancing what you already have. There's so many different tips I could give just off the top of my head.
We want names of apps.
Okay.
We want names of apps. Just throw it out there. We want names of apps. What do you use?
Well, I was gonna say off the top of my head, like the tiniest details can make a difference. Like, don't post a square photo on Instagram. That actually, there's articles that have said that people actually are more likely to keep scrolling. They want the 4x5 image. So it's a little bit longer. There's tiny details like that that are more eye-catching. But for like apps, I use Lightroom for my blog. That is an Adobe, it's like a way of changing light. It's not really like changing, it's color correction. It's a little bit complicated, but hop on YouTube and learn how to use it.
Personal development, right?
Yeah.
Personal development, right? Okay.
There's some really cool like texture apps, mixtures. You can add like that dust or like little flashes of light. ViscoCam, if you want to edit really quickly on the go, it's VSCO. I lay out all of my content in an app called Preview, so I can see my feed. I can see the way it's arranged. Oh, these two colors don't go together. Okay, we're gonna move this here.
So it's almost like a chess game, like you actually really do plan out what you're about to post.
Right, oh yeah, 2 weeks ahead of time I have my content all laid out and it looks very polished because I put, the thought and time into doing that.
So let's say that I am a photographer and I am rockabilly, like that's my style, I'm a rockabilly photographer. How would I actually take that information and create something that would be authentic to me but look really great, because you wouldn't necessarily have pastels or those type of things. Like, how do you incorporate that with any business?
I think it's about finding things that you genuinely love, because when you love the content that you're putting out, other people will feel that. So take pictures of things that you really enjoy, but maybe instead of just taking it really quickly and carelessly, like put a little thought into it and think about what are you taking the photo of and what message do you want to send with that photo. So it doesn't matter if you're a rockabilly or a girly girl, you're creating content around something that you maybe want to sell or promote or explain to people, and there's a story behind that. And make sure.
So would you use your captions for that? Like, would you use your captions to be able to include your story?
Yeah, and I think you can tell, obviously, imagery is a big storyteller, and there's a way to thoughtfully do that. And I think it's through, you can post something like a photo that you really love, and it's capturing the essence of what you're trying to tell, and then use the caption to elevate that. Tell the behind-the-scenes story of that photo, or why it means so much to you. But like,
the emotional element, like we were talking about.
Yeah. And, I was, an example I talk about a lot is like with fashion, sometimes we want to just take a pretty photo and think that tells the story, but a lot of times you might actually be covering up what you're trying to sell just because the whole thing was pretty, but make sure you're like showing what you want to sell or promote. Make sure that the audience really understands what it is that is being captured.
What if it's not a visual medium? What if I make bowling balls and that's what I sell for a living? Like, how do you make a beautiful... That's a good answer. What if that's actually what I do for a living? Like, how do you turn that into some beautiful Instagram page?
Yeah, there's so many ways to do it. I mean, a bowling alley has so much life at it. Go to a bowling alley. Maybe there's really cool, like, artistic drawings on the bowling ball. Get down low, get shadows going, take pictures of the people who are the bowlers, take a picture of the back of their shirt, like add all these elements that create the story of a bowler.
So no matter what, honestly, all of us could increase our exposure, especially with like Instagram or YouTube or those type of things. Okay, here's what my question for you is, let's say I'm not a selfie person. Let's say I'm not comfortable in front of the camera, or if I'm super introverted. Let's say fashion isn't my thing and I live in sweats and that's what I do. But I'm a dropship company and I actually sell fashion, and just pictures of clothes doesn't necessarily do it. What's the workaround for that?
You definitely do not have to be the face of your own brand. Like, think of any brand that you love. Something that's coming to my head right now is Nike. Do we know the owner of Nike? I don't know what he looks like, but I don't know who started it. The athletes are the face of Nike. The items are the face of Nike. So make something be the face of your brand. I have clients who don't want to be on camera. They use models, or they, content creation. That's why I do what I do, is because I come in and I try to creatively make a piece of content or imagery that is going to sell their story, but they don't even have to be in it. There's so many creative ways to do that without you being right on camera.
So no matter what, pull in the human element,
Yeah.
even if it's not you, but that is how we.
Yeah, people want something to relate to, and they want a story attached to something, and it doesn't have to be your face on it. You can use somebody else to get that message across.
I think we can all do that. Please put your hands together for Kayla. I love it. Let me tell you just a little bit about, if you're watching this on broadcast, everything you're going to be able to click down on the first panel, but also the second panel. You're going to be able to see everything in the description link. Let me tell you a little bit, because you're here and actually in this room, aside from the giveaway that we're about to do for that $100 gift card, let me tell you about these ladies and what they're actually offering today. Lisa, who is our Confidence Crown podcast, and in our community, she actually has a book, Stronger, and that is your catchphrase, hashtag strong her, which I think is clever. I really, really love that. But she does have her book here today. You're able to connect with her online as well. We have Megan, our best-selling author, who has your brand new book here. She will absolutely kiss it for you if that's what you want. She will autograph it for you if that's what you want. But there's actually a special today, so if you are here and you happen to be in the room, the book is actually only $10 if you're here today, which is amazing. She's also the host. What's that? Oh, and yeah, that's right. She actually has cards that will remind you that you are enough. It actually says, I am enough. So if you ever feel like you need to have that extra little push, put that with your credit cards. That way when you pull it out, it's always right there, because I'm always reaching for my credit cards. Like, that seems like that would be a good place to do it. But she's also the host of the Blonde Bombshell podcast, so you'll be able to follow along with her. Dr. Meg, you are also, like, you have your book here, your latest books. I know you've written several. Get Well Now, which you have on sale, which she'll be able to autograph for you. But you'll also be able to talk to them each about, overcoming burnout, or building your confidence, or maintaining your persona, or even her background. Struck by lightning, because I absolutely want to know more about that. That's super, super interesting. And of course, with Kayla, you are going to make all of us look so good online. And I'm super appreciative that you did share those apps, because some people don't. They don't want to share their secrets. I'm appreciative of that. You not only you have Los Angeles, but you turn that into a social media creative content builder for brands. What does that mean? So brands and individuals for social media management and brand strategy. If you have at all a social media presence, come talk to Kayla, because she's going to give you free advice right now. Not only how to level up before you leave this room, but when else do you actually get time with someone who does this for a living, and she's going to do this today just because you happen to be here. So please put your hands together for all of our panelists. I appreciate that. I'm ready to look more beautiful. I'm ready to have more confidence. I'm ready for all of that. Paying attention to my body. I've got my list going on. Absolutely want to do every single thing that's in your book. It is time to do that $100 gift card giveaway. So we do have someone else that is about to go to the Bliss Spa at the W Hotel. We're just waiting for the name. We didn't plan that, which actually makes me feel really, really happy. We are waiting for the name to come in. Here she comes. She's coming in. She's like, I got the name. I have got the name. This could be your dream in life, is to go to the W Hotel. You could go there and meet the love of your life. If you have the love of your life, you could get the most amazing parking spot, and then it becomes a networking opportunity. I don't know, I can just continue to go. But who actually won today?
Skinny on Beauty.
Skinny on Beauty. She gets to go to the Bliss Spa. I love it. I love it. Well, I feel like we had a really, really great day. Of course, we're going to continue. Do you feel like you got the value today that you were hoping for? I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to have more opportunities to be able to get together again. Wouldn't you love to never network again? The way that you do that is actually by becoming friends with the people that you're around. It's not that hard. Just ask them, what do you do? Everyone loves to talk about themselves. Just ask, what do you do, and let them talk, and they're going to think that you are the most amazing person on the planet, and they just talk the entire time. But you're going to have connections, and you're actually going to leave here stronger, better, more confident. Ladies, take the lead. Thank you so much for joining us today.